So I wanted to just sit down and talk to you about discouragement. I want to talk to you about discouragement that has to do with YouTube. I want to tell you how I got 63 subscribers. Not even expecting it, not watching numbers, but just 63 subscribers being my true, authentic self. You know, there's so many people hurting in this world today. They just want to know a way out. The way out is God. So many people don't know God. So many people only know of Him. And knowing God and knowing of Him are two different things. But the real fact is that everybody knows God. Because if you had any trials and tribulations in your life, you know God. No matter what you may think, God is the reason that you're breathing today. I have no argument. I just know my beliefs, and I believe in God. See, I had a story, a life lesson that drew me closer to God. To let me know that God is everything that my parents ever told me. See, back in 2011, I was diagnosed with stage 2B cancer. And before then, I only was going through the motions. I went to church, and my daddy always took us to Sunday school when we was growing up. We had to go to Sunday school and church. But as most people do, they go through the motions. They really don't know God for themselves. But if you ever go through a tragic situation such as cancer, then you know God for yourself. I had just lost my sister 2 years before. And I was so angry with God, mad at God, asking God, why do He always take the good people and leave the bad ones here? Not knowing 2 years later, I would get my wise. And the why was because God knew us in our mother's womb. Even before we was in our mother's womb, God knew us. He knew the day that we was going to be born. He knew the day that we was going to leave here. And once we do everything that God put us on this earth to do, then we must leave. And it was just my sister's time to leave. So I went through my cancer journey, went for a mammogram because of my sister's death. They wanted us to start testing before 40. So I went for my mammogram. Got my mammogram, and they sent it to the over to the people, the radiology. And usually they look at it right then. If they don't see anything, they go and say if they find something, they'll call you. Well, mine didn't go quite that way. Mine went from taking my mammogram and being took to this room. And the radiologist happened to be my schoolmate. She came in and she said, Danny, we see something that's very concerning with us, and we're going to send you and set you up for a biopsy. I wanted to know when the biopsy was going to be, how fast they could get me in there, because I wanted to tackle this thing before it got out of hand like my sister's. because I knew I had 2 nieces to take care of. I knew I had a nephew that my sister left here that I needed to take care of. I had 3 girls that I needed to take care of and 2 grandkids that I needed to take care of. So I wanted to get the ball rolling as fast as I could. I went and took my mammogram about a week later. My biopsy about a week later. And those 3 days of waiting is terrible. Let me tell you, it's terrible. So those 3 days came, and I remember the day. It was October the 31st, and we was in Dollar Tree, me and my mom. Got the call, answered the phone. They told me it was cancer. I immediately cried. And I went over where my mom was, and I said, it's cancer. So we got what we was going to get, and we left. And I told my mama, from that day, I had to go. I told my mama. I came and told my dad, because my mom and dad wasn't together. And I told the rest of the people in my family. And from that day, I said, cry all y'all want to, get it out. Because from this day on, it's no more crying. We're going in survival mode. It's fighting and believing that the Lord is going to heal me. And that's how I went throughout my journey. Believing and knowing that God kept me here for a reason, and this was only a test. So when my kids got home from school, I told them, because I don't want them to hear it from nobody else. I want them to hear it from me, right? I wanted them to hear it from me, not nobody on the street. We live in a small community, and that's what they do. I gotta get these things for this dog. They like to gossip a lot here. So I told my kids, my daughter, my nieces, they all got home from school. I set them down, and I told them that I had cancer. Well, my baby girl, and it took everything in me. My baby girl was like, Mama, please don't die. And I grabbed her, and I told her, I said, don't say that, because God got me. He's not going to take me anywhere. He's going to keep me right here so I can take care of y'all. And everything after that, I knew God had me here for a specific reason. So I went through chemo, my first chemo treatment. I went to the oncologist, got my diagnosis, which was stage 2B, ductal carcinoma, estrogen fed, meaning there was estrogen in my cancer. And so then I went to the surgeon, and the surgeon, he was the same surgeon that my sister had, and he was a Christian man. And that's who you want working on you. Somebody that believe in God, somebody that have the same faith as you, somebody that know that God is a healer. That's who you want working on you. So he told me my options: double mastectomy, hysterectomy, blah, blah, blah. Because of the chances, my percentages and my diagnosis was so high. Like, I carried the cancer gene, so everything he wanted to do. So I had my breast removed. After I healed from my breast and got my tubes out, I went right in to get a hysterectomy. After I got everything out that it needed to be out of me, I went and got my port placement. And this was bang, 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 bang. I never stopped. I never wanted to stop. I wanted to do everything decent and in order and the way that God was leading me. So when one thing ended, I asked him to make the appointment from that. When that ended, I asked him to do this, and everything fell right into place, just how God wanted it. And so, during that time, I got to know God for myself. That was like my first cancer treatment. Took all my hair out, and my hair was down past my shoulders. Bald-headed. First treatment, bald-headed. And so, then I was going 3 times a week. So I really never got any breaks. So I went Monday, I got a rest. Tuesday. Wednesday, went back, I got a rest Thursday, and went back on a Friday. These are strongest treatment that you could have, because they didn't even expect my sisters to die. They wasn't expecting it, but God had different plans. So they put me on the highest dose. And so after that Friday's treatment, I skipped a week. And all through that next week, so they gave me Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was out. I was just so sick. Sick, 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 sick. Because one thing about chemo, it don't know which cells to kill. You don't know if these cells are good or these cells are bad. It just kills cells. And so half the time I was in the hospital for being dehydrated. My blood count low. I went through it. I mean, it was a time. But I never lost faith in God. I never lost faith in God. I knew that God was going to heal me, because we have built that rapport. And when I couldn't sleep and when I didn't have nobody to call on, God would always give me a verse in the Bible. I used to wake up at 3 o'clock. The whole time I was going through cancer, I woke up at 3 o'clock. And I would reach over. I kept my Bible on the nightstand. And I would reach over and open up my Bible. And it would be something in there that I was dealing with, that I had been thinking about. God would lead me and reveal to me these things. But let me go back. Everybody was surprised, because after I got my breast removed and I had 4 tubes out,